Good afternoon. Welcome to Beyond Academy College Planning webinar, Mastering the College Essay. And we will start in a few minutes. But in the meantime, you can go to the link in the chat box to download the important documents. There are some introductions and also help tips that can help you. And we will still have a few minutes before we start. While we are waiting, I'm going to play a short video to you. This shows some of our leadership activities and community events that our students have participated in the past year. As many of you know, today's colleges not only look at the students' academia, but they also consider their actual curriculum, community services, and leadership, etc. As we help students and families to prepare for colleges, we also partner with nonprofit organizations and the leaders of the communities to provide platforms and opportunities for students' leadership development and internship opportunities and community involvement. So I'll start that right now. That's awesome. Oh, go to the next page. All right, so for today's webinar, I'll have some introduction first. So my name is Sherry Hu, and I go by Dr. Sherry Hu. I have a PhD in engineering. That's how my students used to call me, Dr. Sherry Hu. And I'm the founder and the managing director of Beyond Academy. So for today's topic, we'll have about 1 hour. And in the end, you will have a chance to do Q&A. But anytime when you have questions, you can put in the Q&A box, and we are able to help you to answer those questions along the way or in the end. And we do offer free consultation appointments, and we will let you know how to set up those appointments in the end. And you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We have those good informations. We send it out normally a couple times a month. All very useful information for you. I know many of you parents and students nowadays can get pretty overwhelmed when they prepare for the college. So there are so many things to think about, right? So I put those top things here. And most times people don't have enough time. And the parents have a daytime jobs, and the students also have to go to school, go to a lot of activities. So there's not plenty time to plan ahead and to get everything ready. Also, there's a lot of topics, and students and parents have to figure out. They want to know about what kind of career path, what's the college major they need to choose, and what's the best fit for them, how to choose those things, right? And there's so many colleges out there. There's literally thousands of them. What has a best fit college for the students? So there's a lot of things to consider. And also a lot of confusions about SAT, ACT, and do they need to take that? What's the best time? And how many times? When to start the study for that? And are there any services can help them? And another thing I know a lot of parents worry about is the money part. Maybe students don't worry that much at this moment, but parents have to think for their children. So for state school, for 4 years, it normally takes over 100K, including tuitions and the room and board. And for private or out of state, that could be over $300,000 per student. If a family has like 2 or 3 or 4 students, this number can add up quickly. So those are the things I know a lot of people, they know it's important, but they kind of push off. They don't get enough time to plan for those things, and they don't have skills and experience to make sure they get it right. And a lot of people also heard of a FAFSA. FAFSA, what's that for, right? It's for the financial aid and the scholarship. And there are additional forms. It's like CSS forms, institutional forms. And I always get people to ask me, what's the deadline for them? And how to file those things? And which year's tax returns they use? So there's a lot of details, over hundreds of questions. Sometimes it may not be that extremely difficult, but it's actually challenging to get everything right. And yesterday, we actually spent a whole webinar addressing those financial questions. So for today's webinar, we'll just do a quick introduction, and then we'll focus on the essay writing. Okay, so just a very brief review of what we do. So our mission for Beyond Academy is to help our students to get into their dream schools. And we provide services in multiple things. And it's a one-stop shop, but we cover everything you need for the college preparation. We have a very experienced counselors to help your students prepare for the college admissions, give you guidance on numerous things we talk about, SAT, ACT, major, college selecting, application, essays, and today we said we'll talk about essays particularly. And we also do interviews, mock interviews, just trying to help out all the details here. I just want to add a little thing here is, I don't know if you have talked to a lot of high school graduates, parents, or students this year. The colleges are more competitive nowadays. And there are a lot of parents tell me, for students even get a perfect GPA. So what's a perfect GPA? Basically, you get A's for all the classes you choose, a lot of APs. So for students have a perfect GPAs, they don't get into their dream schools, like even UCs, even like UC Davis, UC Irvine. Doesn't sound that difficult to get in before, but now it's getting pretty challenging. So those are the situations we are facing right now. So what we can do, first, I think we have to get a knowledge about those things and plan early and get a experienced counselor to help you. And we also talk about, we help with career development and the major selection. We provide guidance, opportunities, process, and tools to help the students. We have a whole set of process there. Another important thing, we always help, and we are probably the best in the country. We have a very strong college funding team. certified college funding advisors. We helped thousands, literally thousands of students and the parents to plan for the financial aid and the scholarships, and also help them to put a college funding strategy together, which is most efficient and save the most taxes as well. So every family will be different in college funding. So more details, we talked about that yesterday. And that's just give you a kind of feeling about, there's a lot of advisors we have, very experienced. They all focus on the college preparation, got lots of experience. And just a little bit about myself. If you haven't listened to our previous webinars, so I want to let you know. So I am the co-founder and the director of Beyond Academy. Myself have a certified college funding professional certificate. And I'm also graduated from College for Financial Planning, Kaplan University. And my team, we have about 20 college advisors. We totally helped over 3,000 families in the past 10 years. And we have all the top schools, Ivy League schools, a lot of schools every year. We have a lot of congratulations, thank you from those students. And on average, we save every family more than $80,000. That's a lot of money, right? Yeah. So a little bit about my previous experience. I have a PhD in engineering, also have a minor degree in business and finance. My first job in the United States was a professor for University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And I'm also a co-founder of several companies and nonprofit organizations. Right now, I'm also an elected city council member for the city of Dublin, California. It's in the East Bay area. There's one of the book I put together just for the educational funding, and I was fortunate. I was received a lot of awards for that. Amazon Best-Selling Author Award for that. And I'm also proud to be a Rotary Club members. So this is a nonprofit organization. We serve the communities, and we also bring a lot of community services opportunities to our students through this organization. And we have more counselors, and I just mentioned them. Some of you have heard their presentations in the past several months. Mrs. Susan, and she has background in medical schools. She's also Master of Education, lot of experience. Miss Pam graduated from Johns Hopkins, and she's very, very sharp. And she, and for today's webinar, we actually want to introduce you Miss Gabby, and she just arrived here on time. And she graduated from Tufts University, and she's top of her class. And her bachelor degree is in English and American Studies with a concentration in education. She's a trained writing tutor, and she have hundreds of hours of experience tutoring the students on different levels for the writing specifically. With that said, let's welcome Gabby to do the presentation with us. Thank you, Gabby. And I'll stop my sharing here, and you can go ahead to share your screen.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sherry. It's so lovely to be here with all of you. Like Sherry said, my name's Gabby. I use she, her pronouns. And I am excited to talk to all of you about college essays. I think a little bit more of an introduction to start is, besides my professional background, I am the oldest of 4 sisters, one of whom is right in high school with all of you. So this process and the ups and downs of it are always on my mind. So I'm really happy to be able to help you through it a little bit. So I'm going to go through the basics. What is the college essay? Why is it important? Hopefully give you a little kickstart in your own writing processes. I will have a few questions throughout this that I'll ask you all. And so we're going to mostly use the chat to communicate. So just so I know y'all are here, can you write hi in the chat? I want to see a few hellos from the group in the chat. If you'd like to put where you're calling in from, that would be great to hear as well. Hello, thank you. Amazing. Awesome. So, so many people. This is great to hear. Hi from San Diego. I'm personally in Western North Carolina. I moved here recently. SF, incredible. Cool. So, thank you for letting me know you're here. I just want to start by framing the college essay. This is the piece of your college application where you get to be the most yourself. That's baseline. Everything that we talk about, we'll come back to that. And there's a lot of resources out there about what makes a good essay and what doesn't. I'm going to give you my own input today. And I also want to, again, hear from you all. So would love for you to put in the chat what you've heard about what makes a good college essay. Any like characteristics about an essay that you've heard makes a good one, any topics. Again, throw that in the chat just so I see where we're at. Yes, imagery, absolutely. My couple that I put on this slide are focus for these essays is really important. Having an interesting topic, also important, and then your tone of voice. Those are the top of my list, but it's always growing. So I really appreciate y'all's input as well. Thank you in the chat, these are great. So to get more specific, I have outlined how I see the college essay writing process. So everyone has their own process, right? I work with students all the time on their writing, and it's very cool for me to be able to see your unique processes. However, I think some version of this is really helpful in taking on a task like the college essay. I think the college essay is one of those funny ones where there's a lot you could say and you don't have many words. So a lot of the trick is really getting what you want on the paper and also being discerning about what you don't need on the paper. And so just to go through this briefly. So if you start in the bottom left, that's my start point for this process. So you'll choose a topic. You will want to talk it out with friends or family to kind of hone in on your focus. I always recommend an outline in every writing project, including this one. Then you can write your first draft. You can fill in imagery. You will need to make cuts. I'm going to say that again. You will need to make cuts to your essay. I think that's the biggest thing across the board in college application writing, supplements included. And then you'll do smaller edits for flow, for your voice, and for like grammar, word choice, etc. That will be your process that you'll do over a couple months. So again, to really zero in, the 3 pieces in red are what I want to talk about specifically today. So I want to talk about topics. I want to talk about what an outline can mean or do for you, and then your editing process. That all being said, Dr. Hu has built an incredible business at Beyond Academy around helping you through all of these steps, and advisors like me are here to walk you through as much of this as you want. So this is a little taste today of what we can offer, and I am hopeful that some of you will follow up to do this one-on-one or more in depth. It can be a really cool and enlightening process, I think. It doesn't have to be a stressful one. So, like I said, we're going to talk about topics first. So, when I started putting this together, realized there are so many potential topics for these essays. And at first I was going to give y'all like a whole list of questions, and then I didn't even want to look at that whole list of questions. So I've narrowed it down a little bit. To me, there are kind of 3 potential like areas that most essays could fit into. One area is your hobbies and interests. So you've picked something up throughout growing up that you really care about, and you want to share that with the admissions council. That's awesome. Related to that is your cultural background or identity. So these topics will also be really specific to you, but they probably involve like you talking about your family or the place you grew up, and giving the reader a lot more context around what makes you you. Then the third kind of category is pivotal moments. So these are the essays where you talk about like a hardship you went through and how you grew from it, or maybe you went on an incredible trip and you want to share that, or you were injured and coming back from it taught you a lot. So that's kind of the third bucket. This just helps me sort of begin to think about all the potential topics. And we're actually going to practice getting a little more specific with these. So I have a fun interactive activity for y'all that involves a tool called a Jamboard. So can you put in the chat if you've used a Jamboard before? Just say like me or yes. I'm curious. Okay, a few yeses. Awesome. A lot of no's. That's great. So it's a Google tool, pretty self-explanatory. I want y'all to follow this link that I'm dropping in the chat on your own computers. So you can use the QR code. I'd recommend just clicking the link in the chat. It's a little easier. So that link is going to bring you to a page with a question on it. And there's 3 pages. So if you look at the top, there's like arrows. I will post the link again. So if you open the chat box, it should be right there. Oh, actually, I understand. Hold on. Thank you. Now you should be able to see it, everybody. Thank you for pointing that out. So click that link. It'll open a page with a question. There's a sticky note. The most important thing is I want you to notice that there's a couple there's arrows at the very top of the screen. So there's 3 total pages. I want each of you to pick at least one of these questions, and I want you to answer it on your own sticky note. So to do that, click the sticky note, copy it, and then you can click into it to type your own answer. I see a lot of you on this document. This is great. And so the cool thing about this tool is that it's anonymous, right? So no second guessing your answer. I just want you to write what came to mind when you read this question. Awesome. Great. I see a couple of answers already. Surfing, ballet, drawing. This is great, y'all. You are also welcome. On the left is your toolbar, so you can click the little sticky note icon there as well.
Gabby, I have the same question as well. So the link right now says there's too many people reviewing it. I guess, we have too many people on the webinar. We have over 100, like 100 people. So they won't see it. Maybe you can share your screen. Can we?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm going to bring this onto my screen. And what I would love to do, what I would love for you all to do is actually answer. If you can't get into the Jamboard, I just want you to answer the question in the chat. So great. I love that LOL. Whoever enjoys laughing out loud in your free time, I'm happy for you. It's good for you. So Sherry, you can see the Jamboard, right?
I know. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Awesome. So yeah, again, if this link didn't work for you, please just put in the chat if you feel comfortable. What is your interest or hobby that you really love to do? So I'm seeing a couple sports, video games, technology, robotics, astronomy. I would add astrology to the list. That's something I really enjoy. This is cool. And so I want just to get your juices flowing, think about what you might want to share with an admissions counselor in regards to this topic. So say I'll pick tennis because I played tennis growing up, and I actually used to teach kids tennis during the summer. So I didn't, but I could have written a good college essay about teaching kids tennis, right? There's a lot you learn on the court when you're trying to corral a group of children. And so who are like this tall and just want to throw balls at each other. Right, so that could be a cool essay. I'm sure there's some cool surfing stories for whoever wrote that. Being out on the water can be scary, right, and difficult. So you could write about what you learned. Thank you for whoever's adding art to our board, appreciate it. And thank you, Nanda, for writing in the chat that you enjoy travel. Okay, so let's go to this second Jamboard now. So for all of you who are on the link, you can click the arrow at the top like I did. And if you're not on the link, would love to, again, hear this in the chat. So this is a little bit of a deeper question. How do you carry on your family's traditions, or how do you depart from them? So I, again, will speak to experience. My family is Italian-American. We're from Brooklyn. We love to eat. And one tradition we have is cooking a bunch of a huge meal called the Seven Fishes on Christmas Eve. And that is something I have grown into like really helping my mom with and hope to host on my own one day, right? So again, that could be a cool essay talking about that meal that we share. So drop a tradition in here if you want to share your tradition. You could write like a value that you share with your family. Remember, it's anonymous if you're on the Jamboard. So I would love for a few of you to share. This also feels like a good time to share, maybe to preempt a question, which is what I did actually write my college essay about. So like Sherry said, I went to Tufts, really enjoyed it. And I graduated from Tufts in 2018, so a couple years ago. I wrote my essay about all of the nicknames I had growing up, and still do. There's something about my full name that people love to riff off of. And I really thought that a couple of my choice nicknames showed the different ways that I participated in my community. So I talked about like different groups of people and what they called me and why they called me that. I think it's a useful example because that was not very serious, right? It was a fun essay. So that's to say that your essay doesn't have to be serious. There are a lot of tones you can take that will sit really well with the admissions counselors. Thank you all for answering this. I'm really, really happy to see some. If I don't know how that happened, if someone wants to hit Control Z on your computer, you'll probably bring some of that content back. Control Z is the undo. And thank you for this post-it. Thank you for the answer there. I really appreciate it. Cool. So while we're troubleshooting that, let's go to the next and last question I have for you, which is that experience question, right? There was a pivotal moment in your life that changed how you think about things. So those are what I want you to put on this Jamboard or in the chat here. So what's an experience you've had that has changed how you see the world? Again, were you injured? Did you go on an amazing trip? Did you lose somebody? Like these are, again, the kind of deeper big picture things that you can certainly write about in your college essay. I'm excited to see what y'all come up with. And if you did do a trip, I want to hear where, if you don't mind. Again, it's anonymous, so I don't know who went where. And yeah, so folks in the chat and not on the Jamboard, I do also want to hear from you, pivotal moments. Cool. Yeah, so someone's thinking about their high school experience. Someone's thinking about being changed by a memoir. That's really cool. You could totally write a college essay about a book that impacted you, especially like a poetry book or graphic novel or something. A trip to DC. Wow, a class. That's awesome. You can certainly write an essay about a teacher who's really changed you as well. These are some really good ones. Someone moved from India to the US. I appreciate you sharing that. I'm sure that adjustment was difficult and taught you a lot. Jeffrey, thank you for saying that. I agree that this question is personal, so no pressure to share. I'm hopeful this activity is really meant to just get you thinking about what could end up being your essay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for sharing, especially about losing a birth father. That's a great example of failure up there. So again, since this essay is about character, it's really cool to share with the counselors, the admissions counselors, how you've built your character. Awesome. So I'm going to wrap us up with this activity and keep us moving through a couple other pieces of the essay. Again, thank you all for participating. It's really, really cool to see what comes to mind. So going back to my slides, I did take a few of those questions that I mentioned. Excuse me. It's allergy season in North Carolina. And I put them on this slide. Sherry, would you mind reading one or two of them out loud?
Okay.
While I
Yeah.
sip of water? Thank you.
Okay, I will just read. Thank you so much. The practice is so interesting. And we are so glad to get a lot of participation from the audience today. And I'll just read a few of them. There's other things. What do you love about the place where you live? Yeah, they want to hear from you about the place you love. And recount a time when you faced a challenge, setback, or failure. How did it affect you? And what did you learn from your experience? So those are, like make you think, make you really dig into your experience to bring the insight out of you. Third one, reflect on a time when you questioned or challenged a belief or idea. What prompt you thinking and what was the outcome? This is an excellent prompt. I really like this one because it make you, question everything and also become an independent thinker. I'll just, do you want me to read all of them or just 3 of them is good?
That's great. Thank you so much. Yeah, there's a lot of words on this slide, so it's nice to hear some out loud. But now y'all see why I didn't give you a giant list of questions, because there's a bunch. And again, you get to brainstorm and you get to match your ideas with these questions to come up with an essay topic. So we are going to move on from the topic to talking about outlining your essay, which is the 3rd step in the process I gave you. Like I said, I'm just pro outline all the time to keep your thoughts organized in any writing project. Specifically, I think these essays, despite having a lot of content, are actually very simple. You want to introduce your reader to your idea. You want to tell your story, and then you want to say why it was important. So those are your 3 sections, really. Again, just, sorry guys. There's a lot of pollen in the air where I am. So again, bring your reader in. You could be talking about anything, so tell them what you're talking about here. Be descriptive. Someone said that early on in our session today in the chat, which was really useful. So you do want to be descriptive, because kind of your opportunity in the body of your essay is to be so unique. You kind of want to write an essay that no one else in the world could write. And that might sound daunting, but it's not, because no one else in the world is you, right? So if you are just true to yourself and share the details of your experience, your essay will be unique. Lastly, the readers of college essays really do want you to draw out the meaning for them. So you don't want to be subtle. You want to tell them this is what I learned and why it was important. So we're going to move on to 1 or 2 other really important pieces I have for you all. The main one, I really want to emphasize this. I think this is maybe the most important point today, is that you cannot do this alone, and you should not do this alone, writing your essay or applying to college. And I know it can get a little difficult to ask for help. I certainly was in some conflict with my parents when I was applying to college, but these are all steps when you should and definitely shouldn't be afraid to ask for help. Sherry, would love to ask you to read this slide as well.
Okay, I'll do a little things, give you a break. So I will share one of the things I have with my daughter, and she's senior in high school. She actually got accepted by a few very, very decent colleges. One of them is UCLA and NYU. But one thing I want to share about her is when she wrote her essays, and she doesn't want me to know anything about what she has written there. But fortunately, we have a very good counselor, and she was able to send her essays, every of each one, to the counselor. So counselor help her to review, proofread. Sometimes it just tell her, it's perfect, but sometimes more times the counselor will give a few suggestions to ask her to improve certain things there. So that's the common experience student will experience, is you probably don't want to share too much with your parents, right? You are kind of like teenager and you want to be independent. At this time, I think counselor can really help you. So a few quick words of wisdom. the things you need to do is pick a single focused topic, pick an original topic, show pride in your accomplishments, share your original opinion, be unique and truly yourself. So you need to remember the college admission officer, they are like reading thousands of essays. They read so much, right? So one of the things really important is you want to be unique. So those are the things we want you to think about. So there's some don't. Don't is don't write your whole resume into an essay. Too many things to write, right? But you cannot write everything. Write about a sports injury or vacation. Don't write injury, sports, and do not be too modest or too braggy. And don't choose a topic that is highly controversial or political, and don't use a template or make stuff up. You need to write something authentic.
Thank you so much, Sherry. I appreciate you jumping in there. I think the last thing I want to say about this slide is they're kind of, I organize them so the do and the don't match. So like instead of writing your whole resume, pick a single topic, right? Instead of being modest, you can show pride, like you've done something cool or you're really interested in something. I think most people have a really good sense of knowing if they're being over the top. So I'm not too worried about that for y'all. The sports injury or vacation one is funny. This was kind of from some research I was doing. It seems like admissions counselors are just a little tired of reading those stories. So it's not anything personal to you all. It's just, they're just gonna read it a little quicker. So maybe, again, a trip, a semester abroad trip, those are different than vacation. So do definitely still write about those. Or if something really went wrong on a vacation and you have a funny story about it, or you learned a lot, you should also write about that. So yeah, hopefully this doesn't feel like too many parameters and is just meant to nudge you in the right direction. So last but not least, I just summarized on this slide what we've talked about. And I honestly want to welcome you all to take a screenshot of this one if you would like to, because I think this checklist can come in handy. So again, I'll just walk through a little bit. We talked about choosing a topic a lot. I'm curious, I'd love to see in the chat if you all feel like you have an idea for a topic based on what we've done so far. So put like yes or me in the chat if you feel inspired to write about something based on what we've done together today. After that, I do want you to talk it out. Like go to one of your friends, go to your counselor, go to your parents, and say, great question, I'll answer that in a sec. But yeah, please go to someone and just like tell them your idea, tell them what you're excited about, because when you're being verbal about it can actually, you can start writing your essay just by talking. A fun exercise is actually to ask someone, ask a parent to write down some notes or something when you're talking to them about it. You'll find that you're writing when you're speaking. A lot of my one-on-one sessions involve exactly that. I'm listening to what the student says. I write it down, but you wrote it because you said it. And then we have an essay and it's pretty cool. So really appreciate in the chat, you were circling back to controversial and political, because I'm right with you. I personally really care about LGBTQ issues and don't think that they're too controversial. I would say generally, if there's an identity that's important to you, you should write about it, or you shouldn't be afraid to mention it. Colleges every year care more about a diverse student body, which is really cool. So this is your opportunity to share your own identities and be proud of them. I would say in this case, political means literally electoral politics. You don't need to write about a specific congressman or something, if that makes sense. And then in terms of controversial, I would just ask yourself, do you think the college shares some of the values that you'll be sharing? So if you're LGBTQ individual, you're proud of that. Most colleges these days are also proud of that, right? And so they'll be excited that you shared. So you can just, think a little bit about the values on the campus you're applying to and see if you can showcase those. That's how a lot of colleges end up choosing some of their students. They look for some sort of values alignment that will run across their student body, despite like the variety of interests that people have. And really appreciate this question as well. I think I will finish with this slide, and then Sherry, maybe we can continue to take questions at the end. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. So just finishing this process, we talked about talking it out, talked about outlining those 3 main categories. It should be maybe the easiest outline you write in your life, but still do it. Your first draft can be however, right? Like, don't hesitate putting pen to paper, just write it down. And I would recommend like filling in too. So you'll get the bare bones, and then you do want to include those details and such. So that's your next step. Make sure that it's specific. Like, you went somewhere and it was the beach. Tell us how it felt to be on that beach. What color was the sand? Like, what was unique to that experience? I said this, I'll say it again, you will need to make cuts to your essay. I think across the board, college application writing should be succinct. So, and when I help students with their supplementary essays, that is always what I'm doing, is getting us to the word count, right? They've written 500 words, we need 250, we'll get there. If you feel stuck on making cuts, you can pull a friend or family member into doing that, or you can work with me through Beyond Academy. Also, ask someone else to edit your essay as a whole. You can do that at different stages. You can say, I don't know if I'm being clear about my idea. Can you help me fix it? Or can you help me focus? Or you can say, this is done. I just need a spell check and a grammar check. Will you do that for me? And again, Beyond Academy is here to do all of that for you as well. So again, those last steps are really just fine tuning. You don't really want to have a spelling error in your essay. The admissions counselors will notice. Luckily, the internet is really good at fixing that. So the last step is increasingly easy. So again, that's my process. I really hope it's been helpful for you all to hear. And I'm excited to answer the question in the chat and a few more in a bit, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen and hand it back to Sherry for a moment. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you, Gabby. We got a lot of great information today. And let me finish my slides, just a few more minutes, and then we'll go ahead to take questions. I'll start sharing my screen. Okay, so I have to progress this. I'll just progress these slides we just gone through. And okay, so there's a lot of things happening. I just want to share a few things with you. We do get a lot of students and parents, they appreciate our help. So those are letters from her, and she's at a POM, College Peace of Mind. That's our name of the college prep program. Helped her tremendously throughout her college application process. So we talk about FAFSA, we help the finance, we help a lot of things, scholarship. And there's parents also talk about
I know
this.
we met about 2 years ago through the online program, and then you joined the Gold program since then, and we helped you last year, and also went to your home to visit you. You have a beautiful home. And today I want to use this opportunity to ask your feedback.
Yeah, no, I think it's been really wonderful. We started out with the program, like you said, with just more of an introductory service, and then you were able to help us do more once our son did get into college, and to help pay for it, which has been absolutely a lifesaver. And you've been super personable. It was so nice to meet you and welcome
we'll
you.
Just stop here. So there's a lot of great words from her. We are really appreciate that too. Be honored to help her.
I know.
So just briefly, we have a lot of programs available, and we also work with you for the things you really need. And there's two popular packages. I just want to quickly let you know. We have a gold package, That's everything about money part. Like the parents worry about the college cost, or they not really worry, they just want to save the cost. So we do have this gold package. The cost is pretty reasonable. I'll just let you know it's only $1,500. Actually, we do give $200 discount if you join today. So the original price is $1,700, but we save, as we said, on average of tens of thousands of dollars for the families. So we do college funding strategies. We put together the best strategy and the college funding cash flow for your family. This is very useful. Most families didn't realize that. So when you get into our program, we'll go through all the details with you. We probably spend like 20-30 hours just for this. And we also help you to fill out FAFSA, CSS, all the forms, and do appeals, negotiations. And especially you want to go to out-of-state schools or Ivy League schools, private schools, this will save tons of money for you. And we also have a different package, Ruby package, and more like there's a lot of comprehensive help for your student admissions, including the IC writing help. Miss Gabby can help you as well. And there's additional packages just for the students. They need more time, more one-to-one time. We'll have a different programs for you. I'll just be really quick because I know many of you are already in our program and probably listened to our webinar before. So basically for the college admissions, we cover all the topics, all the questions you will probably need to know during the college prep process, like what's the requirement for GPA and what's the best major, most fit major for yourself, and how you think about the things to include in your actual curriculum, summer program, internship, leadership skills, those kind of important skills nowadays. And the summer plan, campus visit plan, and what are the schools in your college list you want to apply for, and how you plan for the SAT, ACT. So there's a lot of questions you need to consider, and it's better to have an experienced counselor to work with you, and so you can go through the process more efficiently. Because as you know, college is very important. You don't want to make mistake there. And during the college application process, counselor will also help you for essay writing, reviews, and guidance, and look at your applications, and just help you. If there's an interview, they can help you to prepare for the interviews. A lot of details there. And this is included in the Ruby package, or there's additional things that we can discuss with you. And we already talked about gold package is about money part. We do have additional opportunities for the students in our program. We have worked with nonprofit organizations for the leadership development and also community services. And we do offer some internship opportunities for community services. And especially summer is coming, so that's pretty important. As many of you heard we talk about, I am an elected officer. I'm a council member for my city, Dublin, California. So I do work with a lot of leaders in the community, and it's not a political, it's more like we understand the community issues. We try to help with the solutions, or we try to help, like we should protect the ocean and clean the parks, and we do the charities. We do oversee charities as well. So many things you can be part of with. Here we just want to let you know, have a dream is great, have a goal is great, but a goal without a plan is just a wish. So we have to really put that in the place and start to work on it. And with that said, we want to let you know, so for today, for the participants, you do get a chance to make a free consultation with us, with me and all my team members, and we have information here. You can click the link in the chat box as well, or you just take the information here. You can make an appointment. It's a free appointment, but we do want both parents to be in the meeting. And if you want to know more about the student admission help or essay writing help, If a student wants to be in the program as well, and you can get student to meet us for like 5 minutes. So we get to say hello to your student. And with that said, we'll just stop sharing, and you can find this link in the chat box as well. And we'll start just go over the Q&A questions here. So Gabby, I will just ask you those questions. Okay, so there's a question about, so how do you choose the topics for essay? Does college provide topics, or we need to think about it?
Yeah, thank you so much for reading that one. So, and I actually I want to address that and the next one at the same time, which is the second one says, is it okay to use the same essay in multiple college applications? So I want to clarify now, and I should have earlier, that the college essay we're talking about, capital C, capital E, the big one, is your general essay that you send to every college you apply to. And so when you open like the common application, it will ask for your main essay, your personal statement. And that is the one that we've been talking about with ideas and everything. So you'll pick that topic, run with it, and every college will read it. Supplementary essays are when a college asks you specific questions and you answer them one by one. And those vary greatly depending on the college, how many they have, if any at all. And so just to hone in on this first question, you do get to choose your topic for the big one. And that's kind of what we started to practice today. No specific college will give you, like, all the prompts you see for that main essay will be pretty similar. And that's why I was kind of saying there's a really long list of potential topics. All of the prompts are meant to just lead you to a personal statement, to something you really want to share with the counselors.
That's awesome. Thank you. So there's another question that my daughter is years away from college. Is it reasonable to get involved into our services? Does this make sense as she draws near college application? Okay, I will answer this question. So we normally provide the programs to the high school students. You can start preparation from the freshman year and even the summer before the freshman year. I think that's the best time to start the program. But a lot of our students, they kind of wait a little bit. They come to us in sophomore year or junior year. That's a good timing as well. The early you get involved, you will get more time to get prepared. That's just what we want to say to you. The cost is the same no matter when you join the program, but you just get more time. We get more time to help your students and families. And for the finance, for the college finance, the early actually is better because you get more time to work on a few things and to put the things in place that will help you greatly. So don't hesitate, just start the free consultation with me, and then we can discuss for your family specific situation. All right, so there's the next question. As a junior, when should we start drafting our personal statement? And should we start our supplementals soon? And when is the time?
Perfect. Really appreciate this question. Timeline is important. I would strongly advise that you begin writing your main essay, your personal statement, the summer before your senior year of high school. Partially because since this is a big task to think about your whole life and choose a topic, the spaciousness of summer is really good for you to sit with that, right? Like, talk with your family over dinner about your ideas, spend a nice afternoon just jotting things down. That should be your brainstorming phase, and it will save you a lot of stress to have a draft before the school year starts. There's just going to be a lot you're doing in your senior year. So having something that you've been able to spend time with is really, really good. In terms of supplements, honestly, you can only start them so early because schools do change their questions year to year. So you might not have access to the supplementary prompts for the schools you're applying to super early. That said, what I would recommend doing in the summer is making a list of other things you want to talk about throughout your application. So you've chosen your main topic, but maybe sort of those runner-ups, like the second or third idea you had for your main essay, keep those in your back pocket, because then you can use those experiences, hobbies, interests to answer your supplementary essays. Yeah, that's it for that
Yeah,
question.
very good, very good. Yeah. So there's another thing is how many essays do they need to write?
So, like I said, every school has a different number of supplementary essays. So you will definitely write this one big essay we've been talking about, the personal statement. Supplementary essay, I'm going to just answer, I see that question popped up, is a school has decided they want to know a few specific things about each applicant. So I'll use my own school as an example. Tufts asks every applicant to write why Tufts, question mark. They want to know why you want to go to that school. I would say that's the most common supplementary essay question, because the school wants to know what stuck out to you about their experience. Usually they'll give you a couple hundred words to share with them why you love that school. And there's a huge range. Sherry, I'm curious if you see, when I was applying to schools, some schools had like 7 supplementary essay prompts. I feel like they've pared it down since then. Has that been your experience as well?
Yeah, so some schools, especially private schools, they still ask a lot of essays. There's 6, there's different numbers, but there's one thing to students to think about is even different schools have a little bit different essay topics, and for a lot of things, you can probably adopt the essays you have already written and just repurpose for different schools. So doesn't mean you have to write like 40 different essays if you apply for 10 schools. You probably write, like, I would say kind of like 10, about 10, but you repurpose for different uses. Is that right, Gabby? How you think about this?
Yes. Really appreciate you bringing that up. That is important and will save you time and stress, especially when you've perfected an essay. You don't have to start from scratch for the next college. Like use the majority of that. I see one more in the Q&A, but I also want to answer this question that was in the chat at the end of my time talking, which was, what if someone thinks they don't really have interests or pertinent experiences to write about? A lot of people around me have said they've invested so much of their time doing schoolwork that they never discovered personal interests. Thank you for asking that. I do want to push. This is where I personally would push a student I would be advising, because again, there is no one else in the world who is you, right? So every person is unique. So there is something about you that you can write about. If you feel like you don't have a ton of interests or hobbies because you focus so much on school, I hear that, that's fine. Kudos to you for doing so much schoolwork. You have a family, right? You have a family history, cultural background, traditions. You have, I'm guessing, probably failed in your life and come up against a challenge. That could be an academic challenge, right? But those are of the 3 main categories I talked about with college essays. Those are the latter 2 where I'm certain everyone has a story to tell. And that's, again, a really good use of an advisor like me or like Beyond Academy. We can have that conversation to draw something out if you're feeling stuck.
Yeah. So Ms. Gabby will help you if you really don't know, don't have ideas or stories. You don't think it's unique to you, but we can help you. So this is sometimes it's common for some students, they don't know what to write about. So there's a last question I will cover. It's separate from today's topic. It's more about SAT, ACT, and whether you need to submit it or not. And it depends. Some schools, they require it and then you have to. Some schools says it's optional and it's your own personal choice. And you do have a lot of choices on, whether that will help you or not. If that does help you, you probably need to submit. And some schools don't want it at all. So those are the difference, case by case, and our counselor can help you to decide on your specific case. And we'll answer one last question because the time is up. We just got one more question to answer. But we do want to thank all of you. And we really enjoyed the conversation and the interaction with you. So do college essay has to be written in a story-like format? So Gabby, you see these questions for you. Do they need to do this story-like format?
Yeah, I appreciate this question. The main goal of your format should be to keep the reader interested. So often storytelling is interesting, right? There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. I want to know what happened, but that is not your only option. Again, your main goal is just what do you think is going to hook your reader? I like to be realistic with my students about this. Your admissions officers are reading thousands of essays. So you really just want to stand out. So sometimes that means being weird or funny or really serious. Just, yeah, think about how you can do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Miss Gabby. And thanks everybody here today. And just remember, when you need help, we are here for you. We have a whole team of experts. And with that said, you'll have a great evening tonight. Bye-bye.